living in your aquarium. So, how's it going? How's everybody doing? Weird, there's less people than when I had Rachel O'Leary on earlier in the week. Just kidding. I'm not kidding about the people, but obviously that was a really cool episode. So, how's everybody doing? What's going on, Chubs? Fish and Shrimp by Rich. Aristotle, what's up? Zen Ginger. Irma Pitry, hello. Sally Balls, brother, what's going on? Your average fish keeper, how's it going? So how's everybody doing as we roll in here? It's good to see everybody. Just thought I will remind you for future posterity's sake that in the description there is a link to the Aquatic Arts discount code. So in the coming months, the code will change. Like, it's going to change now rather than stay the same for years on end. So if you're wanting the discount, the 15% off for buying stuff and the entry to giveaways for gift cards and cash or whatever we do for prizes, you'll get entered for that also, which just a little extra bonus on top of the discount. But that will change, and so just check on my most recent videos, the last few months, if you're ever curious what it is, and I'll try to keep that in the description. Other than that, I also have a link to Audible, so I want to thank Audible for supporting the stream in the sense that if anybody out there wants to try it out, it's free to try out, and even just trying it out, it's through Amazon, so if you've given Amazon your info before, it's the same thing basically, so you're not like giving your info to a new company probably. Most of you probably bought something on Amazon at some point or another, or for the Kindle or whatnot, and it's just a nice way. I like to listen to books while I do water changes, so I thought I'd add it as another affiliate or sponsor to the channel. So I just get that stuff out of the way right at the beginning. But today we're going to be talking about fish family news. New scientific articles or news articles that have happened in the last month. There's a lot of them. I picked some that I thought maybe were the most interesting or easy to kind of process, but that actually had some substance to them. You know, we could always pick some really specific ones where, you know, a paper finds that on this specific gene they found something about, you know, the metabolism of red blood cells, or, you know, something really specific. And there's always lots of papers like that, which is fine. That's really cool. But I figured we talk about some more interesting, kind of like general stuff. So stuff that, this is funny, like, it's like, I've got like a fish eye lens thing going. You can, boy, my beard is getting so red. Summer, and as I get older, like, it's not blonde anymore. It's like red. It's very weird. I don't know how I feel about it. But in any case, that's not what we're here for. We're here for the fish, right, guys? Let's see. Ask Alex about spots on your tank glass. What's up with your tank glass? Let me turn this around. You guys don't need to look at me. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of the articles, I figure I'll show you guys an update on the tanks. I've got some really bummer news, unfortunately, about one of the tanks. So if you guys notice that there's someone missing in here, yeah. Super bummed out by it. But Sergio jumped out of the tank. He jumped actually out here and landed on the floor. I heard a thud, and it was the middle of the night at like 3 a.m. and I heard a thud. But I didn't think much of the thud. It just sounded like a little, like, and so I figured like a net or something fell in here, but it was Sergio, and so I got him, and there's footage of it and everything. He was, an older, fully mature angelfish, going on almost 5 years, and I was pulling him in the water. So I got him. He'd been out of the water for an hour, and he was still alive. He was still twitching, and so I pulled him by his tail backwards towards the filter over and over again, and put aloe vera in his gills, like and like the oil, or not the oil, but the gel, and it just, I got him breathing, and he did a few laps again, and then he had hematomas all over him. So he had these bloody patches all over. That must have been either infection or bruising or whatnot from being dried out. And even though he was such a trooper and was able to dry out, he didn't make it. So the next morning he passed away after I'd left him and thought, okay, well, we'll see how it goes, but I didn't have good feelings about it. Well, the next thing to happen was the ammonia spiked in the tank, with him alive still even, and it actually killed a whole bunch of fish. So I lost over 8 of my Corydoras. The Corydoras are still not doing the best, even with the big water change. We'll see what happens, but it all happened because Sergio was such a big fish. He was over a pound, and so when he died, it definitely, it was a lot of chemicals released into the tank, unfortunately. But he also, so this happened a few days ago, by the way, and unfortunately, he had Maria and he had Goldie as his tank mates, and right now, Maria is the only one left over here, and she's with her sister that I raised, that was down here. So there's no angelfish in here anymore. She's now up here. So Maria and the other one that doesn't have a name, or actually she does have a name, Vanity. Because remember, Prince was the other one, but I gave him to a friend who was breeding that specific color line. But basically, so Vanity and Maria are still here, but Goldie died. She stopped eating. She just started doing really poorly as soon as her partner, as soon as he died. It was kind of all over. And so between that and then some of the smaller fish dying, I mean, I almost just want to scrap this tank. Like, I'm so just kind of over it. These angels could go down here or over here. I don't know where. But so that's some sad news that I have to report. And then over here in this tank, I also started to notice that there are a few white dots on 2 of the fish. They're real small white dots. See one right there on the fin. But I'm on ick alert right now. And these are species that ideally you don't want to put at 86 degrees, like the way you'd want to treat ick in most situations. So hopefully lots of water changes will help, and a good diet and everything. But I'm just a little nervous about that. And then also I moved some more of the rainbows over here, the Rhamnocentris. They're extremely sensitive fish, and they had some white dots on them, and so when I moved them, now they actually they've completely cleared up in this tank right away. And I know a lot of people would say, why would you move fish that could infect your other fish in your tank? But I just know the fish well, and I know the tanks well enough that if you catch it really early and you've got a very stable tank with lots of plants and it cleans itself, and this tank was running very understocked lately, I just knew that it would support them just fine, and that they'd probably be better off in there, and that the other fish are healthy enough that fish tend to get ick when they're already stressed or in stressing environments, and so if they're actually all doing really well, then usually even if ick is present on one or two fish, the others won't get it. It's when everybody else is not doing well that you get the big outbreaks. But yeah, playing musical fish can definitely cause things to spread, and just even using the same net as like scooping out after Sergio died. The net I scooped the body out, he had bacteria on him, so that alone could cause problems. I don't know why I can't get these to spawn while we're speaking of the fish updates. But yeah, so can't get them to spawn. And good news though is the iron topaz guppies, the babies that were born, have started to color up a bit. There's at least 3 males and it looks like 5 females. But then the weird thing is, so this is a fish that was born. Where is it? Right here. No idea what fish this is going to be. We'll find out. It's got a black stripe down its side. It could be a licorice gourami, or a sparkling gourami. But honestly, I have no idea what this fish is going to be or where the heck it came from. There's 3 little fry though that are going to grow up like that. I think they're sparkling gouramis. No idea how they got in this tank. Must have been their teeny tiny little eggs on like duckweed or some plant that I transferred in there. I don't know. Now, the last update before we get into fish news that you can use, you won't use it, but it's interesting. We've got the life and times of this tank. And this tank right now, we've got crystal red shrimp, the pure red lines. And then we've got these are orange-eyed tangerines tiger shrimp, I believe. But I want to thank Priscilla for sending me these. She sent me some of these Caridina culls of hers. These are the orange-eyed tigers. There's some other really young ones in there with them. And then also there's blue bolts. Now, the orange-eyed the orange-eyed tangerine tigers actually have blue bolt heritage. So the super blue bolts from Aquatic Arts are in here, and then the pure red lines are in here. But nobody's old enough to have babies anytime soon, so right now it's kind of a holding tank for 3 types, and then we've got the other 2 Caridinas up there. The Babaltis sharing with the Panda Loaches and blue Neocaridinas, which have exploded in population. You know, that's just tends to be how it goes. And I think this light is kaput. Like, it doesn't respond to me most of the time. Like, it takes 5 or 6 attempts. But yeah, so the Babaltis are in here. Also from Aquatic Arts. That's from David, the owner. He actually raised these shrimp like 10 years ago. These green Babalti. Let's see if there's any closer. That one's too far away to actually focus on. But the blue dreams are doing really well. I do notice that they've got a possible parasite. I saw a few that had little white. I can't remember what the name of that parasite is. It's easy enough to treat. But here's one with it. With the white. It's a parasite on them that they can get. Come on. Why won't you focus? This thing, when it's live, is just not focusing anymore very well. But in any case, there's some white. And part of that is the parasite, but part of that is actually a really weird. That shrimp is just weird looking in that it looks like it's ready to shed. It's kind of working its way out of its shell. I'll try to find another one that has it. But honestly, I saw a few of them had the little fluke things, and then they've kind of gone away. I saw them and I was like, oh man, I got to get something to treat that, like an parasitic that's safe for shrimp, like a fenbendazole low dose or something. This one has some. It looks like it's got one on its nose, on its rostrum. So it's just like a white little. It looks like a tiny leech, is what it looks like. But in any case, we'll go over that. I forget the scientific name of the organism, but it's easy enough to fix, so I'm not that worried about it. It can happen when you're playing musical fish or whatnot. And then yeah, so here's that Babalti, which they can be orange, yellow, green, brown, clear. They're a pretty interesting little shrimp. So yeah, so that's what's going on. But again, I mean, I'm just really impressed as these are growing super quickly in my tank. And I know, man, the lens is not focusing whatsoever. But the blue bolts from Aquatic Arts, these are their standard, like, they didn't have them graded or anything. They're a little pricey. I think they're like $10 a piece or something, or $12 a piece. But I mean, they're good. Like 3 or 4 of them are really good quality. And then also the one that Priscilla sent, the one adult she sent me, that's a female here. It's got really like glowing orange eyes, which is cool, even though the rest of its color isn't super crazy. Alright guys, so that's kind of what's going on. Bob, thank you so much. I appreciate the super chat, $4.99 super chat. Always appreciate it when y'all send in the super duper troopa chats, and also the when people join the member things. Always good. Let's see here. Lee, hello. Insanity and Aquatics. Sorry, this question is a downer, but I need to know. So, if I am subscribed, I can block them too. Wait, what? Let's see. What's going on? Wait. Can anyone help me with something? If there's trouble going on. Joey left Father Fish stream because of hurtful comments. Susan for SLC talked about hate and violent threats in a video. What is going on, and who is it? I might be subscribed to them, and I don't know anything about the drama going on in the fish family, if that's going on. Sorry though, and that's lame if there is some sort of violence or what would you call it? Abusive language taking place. That's a bummer. Alishon says, saw you were also in attendance at the Ivan Mikolaji, I always say his name wrong, Mikolaji presentation. You purchased his book after the talk. Right on, yeah, I want to purchase his book too, for sure. It looks really relaxing and everything, but yeah. Let's see here. Oh boy, everybody's going on the drama. Don't worry about the drama, guys. Let's just talk about fish. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of today. The meat and potatoes. So by the way, this fish room is again a mess in that I was tearing apart that tank. You can see that when the nitrates / ammonia spiked, algae grew in like 3 days, like on the glass, really bad. But yeah, I don't know. That's a mess. This tank's looking really good though. It's rehabbed really well, and this tank's looking pretty good. But I do have to say that I lost one rainbow fish one of the Radnocentris. Now, they are super sensitive. They can, like, their TDS can't go over like 80, or they have issues. So I'm thinking that's what it was. I don't know for sure though. I'm gonna say it was a one-off at this point, and we're gonna just hope that no more issues happen. Let's zoom in here on my. Oh, I gotta turn this around. Sorry guys, hold on for un momento. Un momento. Uh, do 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 do. I always try to clip this thing in on the gimbal for the channel, the little stabilizer thing, and it when you do it and it's on, it clicks into the frickin' screen and it knocks you out of the app sometimes. Okay, there we go. I think we've got it. Alright. 20 minutes in and the show begins. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see here. Alright. Take it easy, whoever's parting. So, I don't know, how much we're gonna be, No, I saw you, Bob. I saw the super chat, and I said thanks. Did you not hear me? Maybe you were focused on the drama, but yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. I didn't see a question or anything though. I just saw a little cartoon fella. But in any case, let's hop in. So the big news, the first big news that I thought was interesting, and all for members, these links will be available as well as the scientific articles that they cite. I've either collected or they're assembled through the original article or paper or source. Hey, Father Fish, how's it going? Good to see you in here. Regina, hello. Ames Spirit Fish, hello. So this newest article that I was just reading, it's a follow-up on the River Erft and another river called the Gilbach River. I know you guys probably can't read any of this, but there are some pictures. But basically the gist of the article is they found these shrimp there, and they're living in German waters. They have established themselves. It's now been 10 years. And they started by living in a city, and they're being found in the runoff from a nuclear power plant or some sort of power plant. I'm assuming nuclear because it's got a water runoff that's clean. I suppose it could be coal or something, but I'm assuming in Germany it's nuclear maybe. But these guys are the shrimp that they found, and you've got the wild Neocaridina davidi from Asia, and then the cherry red variety, and you can see that they've kind of reverted. So they've already started to no longer be the perfect, specimen, but they are from Taiwan and Japan and China on coastal stream areas. They're nowhere near Germany in their native range. And they think that as early as 2003 is when they were introduced into the waters there. And they've been there since. Now, these are the local shrimp that are dwarf shrimp, small shrimp species that they have there. And I just thought this was interesting. Look at this freaky thing. So, I know that, and you guys can look at these articles on your own later, because I know that the video quality isn't going to be the best here. The image quality on a live stream just sucks. But look at these weird pinchers. It looks just like a normal dwarf shrimp we're used to, but with like crab claws or like it looks like it. I don't know. It just looks like it ripped them off something else and like is like making a joke by playing with them with both hands or something. But it's got these big pinchers, and the name of this shrimp, which apparently is also in the hobby now, is where is it? Macrobrachium daeonium. And so that's a completely different than the Neocaridina davidi. The other shrimp here, oddly enough, it also has the kind of funky front pincher claws, whereas in Neocaridina and Caridina and Babalti, Malawa, all those different shrimp, the dwarf shrimp, and all the Siloaceae species, they do have specialized front swimmerets or claws or whatever it may be, but they're usually proportional. They're usually really small, and maybe some of them have special hairs on them, and they use them to kind of filter feed and then put food in their mouth. These guys have these giant ones, these European ones. And this other species is the Macrobrachium, same family, but then its species is the Davinium. So, kind of cool. That's a shrimp that I would kind of be interested in having in the hobby anyways. But, yeah. So, let's see here. Do you think they would eat ram's horn snails? What are we talking about here? Sorry, I'm touching the tripod thing in it, or the let's not zoom in so much. This is making my head hurt. There we go. The gimbal. Jimmy Gimbal. I don't know. Amanos are awesome. Yes, I agree. Do you think they would eat ram's horn snails? Are you talking about these shrimp? Because no, I don't know of any shrimp that eat snails. The macros can grow 2 feet long. Really, Fatherfish? Wow, that is crazy. These larger, like the family of these, or these specific shrimp. This article was just saying that these are 2 varieties that are like, relatively they'd be competing against them. But in the article, it's saying that really they don't think that it's that harmful of an invasive species. But it's just interesting that the places that now they're thriving are thermally polluted streams in Germany, also France. I mean, they've occurred other places too. And here, they've got some of the bigger ones, probably the ones Father Fish is talking about. But I mean, yeah, you can see they look more like lobsters or crayfish. Yeah, just kind of interesting. Where is this one from? This looks like a Silhouette or something. I'm just trying to find out. Well, I don't know. This one doesn't even have any info on it. Great article. Okay. Alright, so then the next thing, and like I said, for members later, I'll post all these links. So if you want to see them and read it, because I know right now we don't have the best. This is kind of an auditory thing, and some of these have pictures. But the next news that I thought was interesting was from this little publication, Hakai Magazine, and it is that they have been working in the European Union on what fish or animals they could breed and bring to the moon. So if they want to do a colony in the moon or Mars or whatever, that is what they're looking into. Let's see here. Right now what they're looking at mostly, they started with tilapia, but now this newest article that just came out February 22nd, it was in French, so this is a translation, but this is basically the abstract written up by an editorial person in a science journal. But it says sea bass, 200 eggs were modeled and put into, one of those centrifuge things that spins, where they train pilots and things, and then also a shaking and G-force simulator. That's what the centrifuge thing's kind of for. And then also they tried messing with various levels of temperature and acidity, and they used only RO water or recycled water and worked on trying to, figure all that stuff out. Rico Stan, yeah, we should be on for Tuesday. Um, yeah. So, yeah. Let's see here. What else? Message me privately though, Rico. We'll chat about it a little bit. Um, and then I can do a community post about it for sure. So let's see here. The countdown to ignition. For 2 minutes, the precious eggs suffered riotous shaking, 10 Gs, heightened juddering as they ascend to the heavens. These embryonic fish were on their way to low Earth orbit. Next stop, the moon. Well, actually, they haven't left Earth yet. So right here, it's just talking about how that was a simulation. So it's kind of editorialized with a little bit of blah 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 in the article. But if you cut through it all, basically what it's talking about is they've sent zebrafish and danio. Danios are the zebrafish when they're talking about that. They mean the zebra danio or the leopard danios, and they've sent them to space before, no problem. And Medaka ricefish also. Now the two species that they're looking at also are sea bass that are freshwater adjusted so that they can grow them out in the I guess the habitat, the Martian habitat, or the moon, the lunar habitat. But they found that the eggs had the exact same hatch rate, essentially. It's like 2% off, so not statistically significant. And when they also looked at the other fish they looked at that they were considering like looking into as food, they thought about tilapia, and they have whole other studies that have already been done on that. But this one was talking about what they would feed them and things. And so basically, yeah, it's just one of 300 species under consideration for aquaculture, and basically integrating. They would do hydroponics or aquaponics, and then they'd use that wastewater and they'd use that as fertilizer for plants, and then hopefully they could use some of the plants to feed back to the fish if they use the right species. But what was the other fish? I'm trying to find the name of it here again. Oh, I don't know how to say this fish even. Migre. I don't know how to say it. But it's this fish here. Good sized fish. There's a kid. But yeah. So, and it's another one that apparently they can it lives in coastal waters, but it can go inland a ways. So, there's that. Mostly sea living, but can go inland. So the idea would be to put them on the spaceship as eggs, send them out into space, and then grow them up there. So there's some interesting info in that article if you want to dig through it, and it links to other articles they've done before. Now, the other thing that I thought was a little bit interesting, there's an article on how falling insect season, in quotes, has long-standing effects on fish. So basically, they said that if terrestrial insects are the only thing present in rivers, so fish or insects that stay on the ground like beetles or worms or grubs, they're using insect as a kind of a loose term here. They really mean any sort of little food, basically. And they say though that they will not eat whatever's in the river if they have the option of eating a fly or a dragonfly or a nymph or some sort of bug that is a flying bug, a grasshopper or a locust or any of those things, and that the giant influx in most parts of the world of whether it's mosquito season or locust swarms or whatever it may be, that big influx actually is such a dump of protein and nutrients and energy into the river that it has a big impact on which fish get their food and all that stuff. The other thing that I thought was interesting is they go into this and they talk about how um, this was mostly done in Japan, and they were looking at how if the insect season lasts a long time rather than like a week or two of like a big locust swarm or something, that actually the fish start to differentiate, and that the one or two males will generally get much bigger than the rest. So if they have a long insect season, flying insect season, they'll actually get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you'll have males that are these kind of, I don't know what you'd call them, like alpha males that can take over, and then basically they hoard the food or they scare away the other smaller fish, and protect the choice ponds where contact is happening with the insects getting stuck on the water, and they get stuck, and then their surface tension is of the water like gets them and their wings all mucked up and they can't get out. But it's just kind of interesting that it has such a profound impact, and that even several generations later, it's kind of whichever fish gets the air-based insects is going to win. They don't eat any of the underwater-based insects or bugs. When we'll say bugs because that feels more vague, but they don't eat any of them if they have the opportunity to eat, black fly or fly larva or whatever, a flying insect for some reason. So I just found that kind of interesting. And then the other thing, let's see here. There's a new video and photography setup out that I thought was pretty cool. You guys might dig this. But they talk about larval fish. So fish that are born so small that they are not even, little fry. They're larval. And let's see, get out of here. No thanks. And this was through sciencenews.org, but they basically, this is the first time they've gotten a good color footage of it. And this is specifically mostly saltwater species. But I mean, look at this ribbon fish as a fry. I mean, it's nuts. Like, it looks like a lion fish or something. I don't know. It's crazy. Hey Chevy, what's going on? But yeah, I thought that one was interesting. Also, this one, another ribbon fish, just terrifying compared to the one next to it. I mean, I don't know, scares me. That's like some alien predator movie stuff. And then look at this one. That just straight up looks like an evil fire breathing dragon with a large curly Q, let's say tail, even though that's clearly the tail. Look at this. You can actually see the little bone there, which is interesting. And then the or the spine there. But this is the dragonfish. And so those are the ones that have the little protrusions all over their body that look like leaves or whatnot. And so they're kind of an interesting looking adult too. But I find that pretty interesting. And this is another type of dragonfish, the marbled dragonfish. And again, it's got this really cool orange highlighted tail and another giant, just curly Q. It looks like a gonopodium or something, but they don't say what is going on there with that. It's just interesting. But yeah, I mean, the gobies that I have, for instance, they only spawn with larval fry, and so I would love to see what they look like because we can't raise them in captivity right now. But like, here's a flounder. Here's a 3-spot right eye flounder in the ocean. And then over here we've got tripod fish. I mean, just really cool looking stuff here. Um, but it goes on and on. Some of them, this probably looks like planaria. I mean, look at it. But you can actually see the texture of these little. Let's see if we can show you guys. Who knows what you guys will be able to see. Oh yeah, there you go. So you can see the little stripes. You can see the eye. And this is all like under a millimeter. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. And they go through some major transformations. Now, this is the, let's see here. Oh, I don't know if it says, Brahma japonica, pictured from, 3 angles. Oh, okay, so this is the same fish. I got it. This is the same fish from 3 different angles. Uh, No idea what's going on here, if this is yolk sac or what. Kind of looks like a yolk sac, but it's attached very oddly if so. Um, and it's got this grumpy little lantern fish looking body and mouth setup. I don't know. I always find that stuff interesting though. To get a better look at it because we still don't know. I mean, there's just so much we don't know. But there's some more fun galleries. There's one in here on the same article about flamboyant fish and how like the rise and fall of the oceans and the sea level just because it's gone up and down all throughout history. And this talks about the impact in the short term. I mean, it can be devastating, but in the long term, it can also um, open up new niches for new fishes. And a lot of them are really colorful if they're in the top water. Now, the reason it's postulated, this is my thought, the reason you get more colorful fish in the top water, whereas um, you get the glowing fish and things like that, phosphorescence and um, lanternfish and all sorts of things like that. In deeper water, you get that because they're producing their own light. But if they don't produce their own light, it has to be reflected light. And you start losing all your reds and yellows when you get more than maybe 10 or 20 feet deep, usually. You start losing those colors that are brighter at the top. So it makes sense that they would have more subtle patterns of the bright colors up near the top of the water. So uh, new niches for new fishes is your new favorite saying. Well, I'm glad that makes you happy. Um, let's see here. So yeah, those I found those stories interesting. Let's hop on to the next couple. Do 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 do. Okay. Um. So this we won't go too far into this because this is a nerdy one here. But basically, this one here is about the new fish found recently, found last year, and it lives in Jurassic Park. Apparently, I mean, look at this place. Oh, it's literally called Jurassic Canyon. That's funny. But this is found over in India and the Himalayas. Um, what? Where is it exactly? It's called the Gollum Snakehead, uh, and this is the Smithsonian Magazine here that has this article. We can't have any snakeheads in the U.S., and it's a bummer because there's a huge variety, and some are really, really beautiful. Some are pretty mean, but some are really, really pretty. Um, let's see here. Oh yeah, dragon snakehead fish live in underground reservoirs, only coming to the surface when intense rainfall floods the aquifer and carries them up through the limestone holes. Adult fish are about 4 inches long, with straight, thin bodies, and they propel themselves forward by back fluttering their body like a banner in the wind. Unlike most underground dwelling critters, snakeheads, dragon snakeheads aren't pale or eyeless. They're a rusty brown color and do have functional eyes. So they may be a really recent addition species to the world. But there's more info on them, more pictures, and they're kind of cool looking. I don't know if they're called Gollum because of Lord of the Rings or if it's the old Jewish myth, but I think it's Lord of the Rings and the cave and him eating the fish and all that scene, which is kind of silly, but it shows you that at least scientists have a sense of humor, albeit nerdy and or underdeveloped. But beats naming it after some random schmo, huh? So let's see here. The next news that you can not probably use is about some fish evolution. We won't even need to... well, we'll see if there's any pictures on this. But basically, they found in genetic research that fish... This is an old 14th century Dutch encyclopedia illustration, actually, from a poem about fish with limbs that crawl out of the water, which is interesting. But it's got references to this artwork and some story, but it says that almost 700 years ago, Jacob van Marlant, a Dutch poet, envisioned a fish all set for life on land, if it sprouted arms to hoist itself ashore. Now 3 genetic studies make his fantasy look remarkably present. Together, the studies suggest that in terms of genes, the aquatic precursors of 4-limbed land animals, or aka tetrapods, were all as well prepared in fossil record. They were pre-equipped with genes that could be turned off, it doesn't say turned on. They missed a word there. Turned to make limbs, effective air-breathing lungs, and a nervous system tuned to, this is turned, and this is tuned. I wonder if they meant to say tuned here, too. To the challenges of life on land. So basically, it's saying that fish, and this is what was more interesting than anything in the article, it's saying that fish had the ability to actually evolve out of the water and grow arms and legs rather than flippers and fins. They had that ability really early on, but it stayed dormant in their DNA, or at least maybe they used it and it failed, or they came out of the water and we haven't found that species yet. But we were able to take these cartilaginous fishes, so sharks and rays and things, and then we were able to also compare like autocoelacanths and things like that are 350 to 400 million year old fish lineages, and then all the way down here at 420 million years is when you start to see the common ancestor of the lobe-finned fishes. So you've got lungs here, that's the last thing to develop, and then you've got in these ones here. So they looked at things like the bichir and mud skippers and things, and they tried to see if they had the information genetically of how these fish came out of water. And it turns out that yes, those fish have been out of the water and then went back in for some reason, and now they hold those genes. But it shows that there's a default set of genes that flipped on, and ever since, fish started coming out of the water after that. So kind of interesting to look at that little chart and the way that they did that and the way that they used fossil evidence to prove which traits came first and all that was pretty good. But yeah, Aquarium Library is working on editing some YouTube videos, and you wanted to listen in. Well, yeah, good. Fish news you can use is usually an episode you can kind of listen to. Sometimes there's some images, and you can always come back, especially if you're a community member or a YouTube member, to my site, as the little membership thing is only $1.99 a month, but you can get links to all of these articles. I'll post them up for members later today. I've got them all sitting right here, so I can probably do it right after this video goes up. Where is the mouse? What is going on? Okay, there we go. All right. Yeah, that was the name of the article. Fish had the ability to adapt to life on land before they left the water. Um, why did they keep swimming in the seas? All right. So then the other thing that I thought was interesting was there's a good article on the scaling and armoring of fish. And yet again, it's another one where they were able to look at common ancestors and go back, and they were able to also look at um, kind of the same thing. They were able to look at some of the earlier lineages of fish. So they looked at things like paddlefish and bichers, and all the way down to like little corridora and various other, I don't know what you armored catfish. Sorry guys, the word escaped me for a moment. And then they also looked at a fish with completely lacking any sort of fins or anything, other than skin. And so you've got skin, fins, or armor plating, but they also found out through CRISPR technology, which is like at-home genetical stuff in theory, or genetic stuff in theory that you can tinker with. They said that they know for a fact now that fish lost their scales and became just skin exposed fish, like naked fish, and that they probably then expanded into new environments like the open water, whereas the armor or the scales were probably much more useful for other other niches near the shore and near the top of the water, where you might have something snagging it out to eat it. So just kind of an interesting little rant, but it's also talking about 420 million years ago. So it's a popular time. It was a happening time. Those first 5 million years were a doozy. Let's see here. All right. So then the other thing that I thought was kind of cool, the last article that I shall regale you with today, was where did it go? Oh, so this one was talking about how 500 species of fish in less than 2 million years originated or speciated in Lake Malawi, in the Rift Lakes in Africa. So pretty interesting read again, especially if you're into that nerdy level 1 million. That's the level I like to play the game on. Let's see here. Did I miss anything? No. Okay. All right. But this whole new article says that it's not necessarily habitat or pressures from some new thing, um, like like a new enemy or climate change or dinosaurs eating them, whatever it may be. Not that that stuff necessarily would have been going on 3 million years ago or 2 million years ago when this started. But we're trying to figure out why those lakes have such a crazy biodiversity compared to other lakes in the world. And it looks like it has to do with the clock of fish. So a lot of these fish have the ability to sleep with one eye open, sleep just kind of swimming around still, but on their guard where their brain just wakes up like on the turn of a dime or toss of a dime on a dime, whatever the phrase is. You guys know what I'm talking about. But basically it talks about how lighting and the ability to hunt and see, and then what the implications are. So if they're now out to hunt and see things, what does their mate want to see in coloration? So then there starts to be kind of I don't know, a mini arms race over how they're going to prepare themselves in these waters. And some fish will sleep like an hour and then awake for an hour and then sleep for an hour, awake for an hour, sleep for an hour or whatever, all through the day. And that's how they utilize the niche, or that's how they evolved into it. Whereas others, they actually found 11, or were able to identify at least 11. And they say there's almost 100% sure that there's way more in that lake alone. Also, its location doesn't hurt. Kind of the heart of a lot of different changes, and also Africa subcontinent, Indian subcontinent, all kind of mash up together in that Rift Valley area. Let's see here. So there was lots of opportunities for new experimentation with biology to occur. But I think the let's see if we can take a look at some of the other fish. But yeah, the difference between being nocturnal and diurnal, or what they call it, quadernal, where they sleep 2 hours and then they're awake for say 3 or 4, and then they sleep another 2. And so they all have these different things, and some use like the moonlight and UV light to eat certain mosses. Others use whatever, I guess algae, and things like that. But I just think it's really fascinating that it was the circadian rhythm that conducted all this activity, more so than anything else. But I just thought that was kind of cool. And you can go in there and look at more of the other fish species and all that stuff. Let's see here. But the other big news through the through line with all these articles is that they actually did a lot of this stuff was done by scientists using CRISPR technology that's only a couple $100, and you're able to do from a university lab or even a home lab, and they're able to turn off and on genes selectively to say, okay, let's turn on the gene that allows fish to breathe out of water, or whatnot. And so I thought that was just kind of interesting. So yeah, but that's kind of what I had for you guys today, and I hope that you kind of enjoyed the fish news you can't use, or that you probably won't use, but it's interesting, right? So there's that. So that's kind of what's going on today. If anybody had any other questions, feel free to let me know. And then obviously I will share these links with the members in the community tab shortly. And you can go through and look at all those photo galleries and stuff on your own, or if you're like, I don't believe his sources, you can totally prove me wrong. I dare you. Prove me wrong. Come at me, bro, as they say. Also, I got new CO2, which is good because this tank looked like it. Let's see. Let's turn this around. Thanks, David. This tank, the carpeting plants in the deep substrate aquascape here. I mean, you guys remember how deep that substrate is? It's like, I don't know, 9 inches in the back. Over here, though, I think they are. I think that is a sparkling gourami. The baby's in the other tank, by the way. But yeah, and the carpeting plant's just not doing so hot at all. They need that CO2, and it's been over a month without CO2. So yeah, I love this hydrocotyl verticillata. It's, and people always ask about it. And I also, when I moved those rainbow fish into that other tank, I moved the 3 longfin tetras in here, and they just look so cool. Got those from Redfish Bluefish.shop, by the way, my buddy Jason over on Whidbey Island. Also, if you missed it, my wife, we got her another 2 of the blue gouramis. She had her one blue gourami. There's 3 of them in here total, but she had one named Fast Freddy that would go back and forth, and it just did that really fast all day, and I didn't think it was healthy for it, and so I said, I think it needs a friend. I think it's stressed. And now it doesn't do that at all. It's a totally chill fish. Also, more of these pleco babies have kind of grown out from mama here, and then daddy has a whole new brood right here. Hey Jess, how's it going? Good to see you. So dad has a new brood. There's, I don't know, a few dozen babies in there hanging out, and he's just kind of barely blocking it. But you can see that big red dot on his head. His body's kind of sunken in because he has not been eating. He's been guarding the entire time. So there's that. He's a good papa in that sense. Is the other gourami back here? Yeah. So is that Fast Freddy? Let's see here. No, this is Fast Freddy. That's Lars, the first one we got. And then we got these other 2 at Aquarium Co-op after the fact. But yeah, her fish doesn't go back and forth anymore. And she thinks that's a bummer, but I'm pretty sure it was going to die because she had this fish that, the dad just left the babies that are in there for the first time. That's the first time I've seen him leave. Maybe he'll eat finally. He was really losing a lot of weight. He's been there at least 3 weeks. So hopefully he'll eat some food today. He takes his job very seriously. Now look how pale some of the babies are. I mean, these ones are 6 months old now, at least. But look how pale some are compared to being the lemon plecos. Some are really pale versus others. And they really seem to color up more in the summer too. So I don't know what's up with that, but you can see here's one that's pretty yellow. Well, maybe it doesn't look like it on the live stream. But all these guys are all yellow. Nice yellow-orange color. So, yeah. Let's see here. But that's all I have for you guys today. Kind of a short one. If you haven't seen it yet, I had a great episode, a great talk with with Rachel O'Leary. We talked about kind of the ethics of fish keeping and the history a little bit of the internet and shrimp keeping and nano fish keeping. It was a really great talk. So if you haven't seen that, I suggest check that one out. And then also have another video out this week on the new Dragon Micro Goby. Yeah, let's see here. The Aquatic Library says, Alex, I'm very hesitant to have people doing their own gene editing in their garages. If people can't keep their shrimp in their tanks in Germany, I 100% agree. It is a little disconcerting. I am a little scared of what is going to happen next. I mean, it's an exciting time, but it's also kind of like, wow, we could really screw some things up especially if someone tried to do something malicious. But I have a feeling the accidents will be the most damaging, more so than the intentionals. When someone intentionally plans to sabotage something, like, oh, I'm going to ruin the environment, uh, it's harder to do than you would think. It's pretty resilient. It's like it's weird cascades and chain reactions that you can't foresee that you may think are good for the environment when you're working on your project. They seem in the end to do that. 40 Years Fish says, I bought 14 peacock gudgeons, 20 male guppies. Oh, you brought them. To your local fish store, got 3 night gobies and 8 threadfin rainbows plus some plants. Wow, that's a score. Right on. Good trade for sure. Yeah, Redfish Bluefish shop grand opening May 1st. You heard it here. That's good. Um, I talked to Jason, and he had said that I didn't want to put the pressure on, but if you're calling it, Chevy, I'll call it too. He is really set. Like, I've seen pictures, and I talked to him a couple times this week, and he seemed really ready to get the doors open at his Whidbey Island shop. So if you live in Washington, anywhere near Whidbey Island, it's a great little day trip to go out to the island and everything. Also. But yeah, redfishbluefish.shop. He also has his online store. But yeah, that's all I got for you. And, thank you so much, Chevy, for moderating and holding it down for us, as well as Mary doing the same. And so thank you, all the mods. Thank you, those of you with questions, comments, and no drama. Everybody's done really well today. That's great. It's a drama-free zone. Let's see here. Aquarium Library. Do you ever think you will ever do a deeper dive into water quality and the science behind the crazy microbiomes living in our aquariums? I don't know in what capacity you mean. I've done a lot on chemistry, on TDS, on pH, on buffering the water and what that all means. I've done a ton on the diseases that can go from fish to humans. I have a 2-hour special on all the known types. I have another one on freshwater sponges and things like that. I have a few episodes on the complexity of the microflora and the microfauna in our tanks. So I've gotten the microscope, and we've looked at tank water that's, a month old versus 6 months old versus a year old. We've done that a few times. So I will probably be bringing more microscope out. I want to get someone who can help me identify more species, but I've also gone into, the difference between algae types, or the cell walls of plants versus cell membranes, and how that affects things differently, or how your medications interact with that, or how your TDS can go up and you're using crushed coral or something like that, and so your water gets more and more alkaline, and the TDS rises, and that's normal. But if you put catappa leaves in, you would think, okay, that's going to counter it, because it's going to make carbonic and nitric acid, which is acidic. And that's true, so it goes down. TDS is going to still be high, though. And then on top of that, that acid's going to break down the alkaline limestone or coral or crushed shells or whatever it is you're using even faster. So sometimes it can have the opposite impact. So we've talked about that. So I've done a lot of episodes. There's 700 episodes now. So dig through some of the episodes by tags of subject tags, or just by what you might be interested in, and you'll probably find some stuff up currently. But yeah, we'll keep talking about that. That's part of the channel, and yeah. So let's see here. 40 Years Fish says, Secret History, check out my new video when you get a moment and see if you can identify some plants I found in the stream by my house. Oh, sweet. Yeah, I will, definitely, for sure. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, mods. Thank you, super chatters. And also, Super Chatter Bob, that is. And thank you, members, just for continuing to support the channel. Also, and patrons alike. Have a great one. I should have another video launching probably Monday. It'll be out Monday early morning. But it should be another deep dive. So I hope you guys are doing well and hanging in there. And I will talk to you guys later. Take it easy. This has been Fish News you can't use. Or Fish News you probably won't use. I don't know. I keep changing the name of it slightly. But it's basically bits and pieces from the scientific and or hobby world that come out each month. And some month there's enough for two or need to be two. Others, there's a lot that comes out like this month, but a lot of it was so specific that I didn't think it was that interesting. Whereas these other ones are good jumping off points for more, if you have more questions or thoughts, maybe of your own channel, a lot of this could be a good spot for you to jump off doing research from. So, all right, you guys, take it easy. Also, last thing I'm going to say is if you want to support the channel but don't have any money, but and you've already bought things on Amazon in the past and stuff, try out Audible. All you have to do is click the link in the description. You get a free trial of 30 days. You can listen to, any book of your choice. 2 of them you get for free, you get to keep. And there's some really good fish-related, biology, ecology-related content on there. So I recommend that. But no matter what, I think it kicks me $3 if you guys try it. So it's a good way to support the channel, or any channel for that matter, is to do some of those trials and things. Even if you cancel, but I like it. It's something that I like, and yeah, I think it's great when I'm either driving or doing like a water change, and I just want to chill and listen to something informative while I do it. Like Your Inner Fish is a book that was on there. I think it's still on there. That was really good about the evolution of fish. And now, I mean, literally these articles are addressing a lot of the unanswered questions in that book that's only a few years old. So, yeah, you can fill in some of the info with the channel right here. So, all right, guys, it looks like most people are peeling off and heading out to other streams and so forth and so on. So I want you guys to have a great evening or morning, wherever you are, whatever it is you're doing. Thanks for joining me, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.